Giovanni. And again, just fun to once if you're on gallery view, did anyone get some value from just looking at that whole thing? And just it's simple, you know. I think I'm not teaching anybody anything. I'm only telling you all what you know already. So pointing you at your own knowing, yeah. Martin.
Hi, Isaac.
Martin.
For sure, it touched a lot in me.
Oh, beautiful.
It's I talked a couple of times to you about something like the same, and so it touched it again. It's this question that I know the resting, this love affair.
Mm-hmm.
I think better and better, but this love affair is like it's a little bit like what you said. Why should I run anyway? And this is kind of a problem for me sometimes, because when I'm in this love affair, I don't do anything. I don't feel like doing. And when I do anything, it's a little bit like an alcoholic going in a liquor store.
Yeah. But now you see, there's another possibility, Martin, that doing happens as an expression of this love affair. It's not from the usual habit.
Yeah.
You see, the usual habit is coming from like I have to do to get an identity or to be something.
Yes.
But then there's just a movement that is an expression of this. So now your system is ready to start making that distinction. It's just seeing where the movement, like, the movement comes to want to eat something. And then there's a way of going, looking for just, how could I say, not in tune with the whole flow. There's a way of, you could say, of making food that's like making it for God, or making it in a beautiful way. And then there's a way of just practical. What can I do to shove in my face so that I'm not busy with this hunger anymore? So it starts to fine tune itself. That's all. It's like.
It feels a little bit like getting stuck there, because I'm having this beautiful way to resting, and then I fall in this old conditioned habits, and it just feels terrible. And I just want to go back and sit somewhere in the woods and just be quiet.
Yeah. So now there's a learning, I would say, and making very fine distinctions of functioning that's from a deep resting, I could say. It's like, in some ways, it doesn't matter whether you're cleaning toilets or running a multi-million business. When it's done with that reverence, and I guess in the East they would say you're cleaning toilets for God, or you shining shoes for God, or whatever it is. It's like a different. It's functioning. Yeah.
But I know this for a long time. I would say maybe 50 years. I know that this is true. But now I'm in this point to experience really it, not know it intellectually. That's the same to clean toilets and paint or whatever. But now I'm really experiencing this difference. To feel when you go the wrong way in your habits, to feel this little conditioned habits.
How lucky is that, Martin?
Really,
how lucky is that like your system has gotten fine enough that it can recognize that difference. Until it's that fine, it cannot recognize the difference. it's just running in its old habits. And the fact that it's gotten to that point where it's now recognizing is fantastic.
And it's really felt as a big, today in the morning, I woke up and it was really like feeling like this little, like a creature, like this beastly creature sitting in the bed. Oh, you didn't do this, and why did you do that? And the world, and it was really like, this Gollum from Lord of the Rings, this creature sitting in the bed, really awful. And
when you look at that, that's just a habit of thought. It's just old thoughts cycling through.
Yes.
So, it's not an entity, although it feels like in a certain sense. It's just a habit of thinking. And usually that's inherited. It's been conditioned. And so, it has a momentum of years. But in the seeing of it, and in the not taking it personally, just recognizing, okay, it's no more than just thoughts. And the thoughts, of course, produce a chemical response in the body, and so produce a whole experience. And then it's being quiet in the midst of that, not trying to solve it, not trying to stop it, just seeing it for what it is. It's just habits, old, familiar patterns playing. They're not wrong, they're not bad, but they're not pleasant for sure. They have a smell.
So it's feeling personal, and it isn't at all.
It's not at all. Yeah, that's a linchpin, just to recognize. If it was up to you, it would not be happening. And so, it's like nothing wrong with it, nothing right with it, but something is fine-tuning. That's all.
Yeah, maybe I get a taste what it means to be just live in the moment, in this freedom of the moment. But it's such a new way.
It's a new way. It's a really it's it's just, to me, I keep I'm calling it a love affair, because it's like it's just like moment by moment. It's like, and this is really all that is interesting. Everything else,
Thanks a lot, Isaac.
thank you, Martin. Yeah. Lily.
Hi. It was so interesting when it was just said now to be in this moment, and all of a sudden it was obvious the enormity of this now, this space, the awareness, and therefore the systems instinctive thing to contract, and obviously there's some fear there also of the unknown. And I was going to say before that, I was going to bring this up, that I know that there's nothing that I need. I live in this plane and I have to do certain things, and similarly to Martin, the old patterns come in and you just run with them, and then you start observing. but this I is very strong in that space, in the doing.
You know,
Too
let's
much thinking.
just let's make a very fine distinction. So this moment, being in this moment, what does it mean? Some people hear it as I have to be present
Yeah.
with the sense impressions.
Okay.
And if we hear it deeper, then we hear it's being that awareness. It's resting as that awareness. The sensations can come,
Yeah.
but they're completely transitory.
Yeah.
There's nothing that needs to be done about any of them.
No.
Once the focus is more on the sensations, then we're always micromanaging and what does this mean? And I feel this and I feel that. What do I have to, it's like the attention is constantly busy with not only sensations, but the interpretations and then managing. So that's why Ramana's invitation is so powerful, because it's immediate, just that there is awareness here. Everything else is changing every second, every millisecond. And the fact is we can't describe what's going on because it's changing so quickly and we don't know what's going on. We can have a limited knowing, but even to know what's happening in the embodying process, trillions of cells, bacteria, viruses, I mean, all this stuff, it's like what's going on in a single cell is mind-blowing, let alone trillions of them. We don't know. So this habit to try and know and to try and be on top of our sensations and it's a funny habit. It's just, but you could say that's the predominant habit in the expression of life called people. It's like busy with, in a way that is, creates a sense of separation and distress.
Yeah.
And then how do I come out of this distress? And the moment we're trying to come out of it, it just gives it more energy. It's funny. So it's just like, it's really recognizing that invitation, just whatever we are aware of, who's aware of it? I am. And that awareness is here already.
I really sense that through the heart. Like it feels just so real.
Yeah. We can describe it like that, but it's like it's just a deep knowing. It's not, it's not, it's like, okay. Yeah, it's not an understanding even, it's just a recognition. I mean, it's so, yes, again and again, oh, we have to deal with our shadow. We have to, no, usually it's not I have to deal with the shadow, I have to deal with my shadow. It's personalized immediately. And what is the shadow? It's like, oh, ultimately it's just an automatic unconscious resistance.
Oh, that's so nice to put it like that. Wow.
Yeah.
Simple. Yeah.
And it's universal. It's nobody doing it, So, we have this thing, we look at, we see this world going on and we see this, like so-called good and there's so-called bad and there's people that are trying to kill everybody and there's other people that are doing really far out things. And it's like, it's easy to get into a split of, okay, but when you realize it's all appearing in who you are already, So this projection of good and bad and all that, it doesn't mean that there's not an awareness of it. You know, it's just like,
you know, when
but,
you said who we are at the moment, in this moment, there was an obvious I in here, some strong, is that the resistance to it?
yeah, and that resistance, whatever that resistance is, who's doing it?
Ah,
So
okay.
in the awareness that there's a resistance and recognizing that nobody's doing it.
Yeah. God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's just a happening. It's just a happening by itself. But now the question is, does attention follow it and get involved in it and try and change it or fix it? Or does it just notice how there's a resistance? It's trying to help, but it doesn't. It's confused. That's all it is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nothing to understand, nowhere to get, nothing to figure out. I mean, God, you can rest finally. Or not.
Thank you. That's so beautiful.
Daphne.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me well? Because
Perfect.
I'm having an old headset here. Yeah? Good.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
I've had some sensations coming up when we talked about learning. And it was feeding somehow the idea that there is somebody who can learn. Learning is happening or it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, if there's suffering from an habit, for instance, then there's also the willingness or the wanting to get out of the suffering and to stop the habit or to learn something.
So this learning, like right now, somehow, you know, to stick this little earphone into this machine, yeah, this computer. 20 years ago, you didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Now you know it. It's simple. Maybe the first time it's like, you know, and then if it doesn't work, you know, okay, now how do I play with things to get it to work? Yeah. So we can't deny that learning happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Learning is happening. Oh, you know, it's like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just not to get confused that I can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that there's
yeah. It's just a natural thing. It's just like, you know, you watch how a baby develops and grows. It learns how to crawl, learns how to walk, learns how to talk. So we can't deny that learning happens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me,
it just happens in its own time and
in its own timing, as you know, and it happens. How does it happen? Even, you know, it's just like it's somehow, I would say, it happens within the context of an interest.
And also the idea that I can move my attention. Because, you know, sometimes it feels like that and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. And there I would say that our attention serves whatever interest is most predominant in us. And we don't choose that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little crazy, the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Mm.
You know, it's just, again, pointing in this direction that there is no real doer. You know, it's like, I've used that example a lot of times, like those kiddie rides at the fairs where there's all these different vehicles on a track and they've all got steering wheels, planes and trains, and the kids love turning the wheel, but it's just a ride, you know. And it's the same thing with our lives. You know, our lives are moving, and you know, we make all these plans. Some of them happen, some of them don't happen, and life just happens. You know, it's like that. So, and yet there's a sense that there's a controller, or that somehow that, you know, you just see it. Life, you can be living in Ukraine and have a really nice life, and you've got money, you've got a farm, you've got any, and suddenly the war happens.
Like this,
okay, just like it, like 1 second, it's like a dream, yeah. So it doesn't, and it can be the same anywhere in the world, really. Or suddenly there's a volcano going off, or an earthquake, or a tidal wave, or, you know, we just like in Pakistan now, a third of the country is underwater. It's just like, my God, people living there for hundreds of years, suddenly everything's gone, washed away.
Yeah, I don't know how to really grasp it. It feels like a frustration, because this interest is so deep to be with the beloved, and then seeing at the same time that I can't do it. You know, it's like sitting in that is a little frustrating.
Yeah. It, you know, it is like that. It's not a doing. It's like something catches fire, and it
feels more that it pulls me back to it, you know.
Pulls you back,
and then it eats me up, and then
exactly
it spills me out again. Yeah, and sometimes it also it feels like part of the game. Sometimes also to try, just to try.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's all part of the game.
Yeah. It's that funny thing of trying to not try. Yeah? That recognizing that trying is appearing in us, and it's beautiful in its own way, but it's trying to be what we are already is. What allows us just to stop and rest?
I have no idea, but I'm very happy for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you. Mahima. Hi.
Hi, no. Okay. I'm sitting here laughing at a lot that's been said tonight, and yet I can feel this rumbling in the system feel it kind of in the solar plexus, in the heart, and these habits. And this is, I'll just use a simple, well, it's not so simple in a way. Like a couple of things I eat that I feel like I should not be eating. And I even sometimes throw them out. And then next time I go to the store, I buy them. Today, I didn't eat them all day. And then I ate dinner and the craving is there. And I'm like, why can't I? And then I feel, I don't know if it's shame or disgust. Like I've never really had an eating disorder. I don't know. I don't know why these two things I just crave. And it has to be specific brands. I don't care. You could bring in another kind of a chip or something. I wouldn't want it. It's just the weirdest thing. And I'm going, well, maybe I'm fighting with it. Maybe my body really wants this, but I don't think so. And I just, the whole thing
it's like,
food even.
It's funny because it's like, these bodying activities are made up of bacteria and viruses, and sometimes the bacteria want a certain something that might not be healthy for the whole system altogether, because when the system is just a little bit out of balance, then that's what they want, and then we think, oh, I want it, but actually it's this intelligence that's in the system. And so then it's like a recognition of, actually, look, ingesting it maybe satisfies the bacteria, but then something feels sick or doesn't feel well. So it's like this funny noticing the cravings and then just starting to explore, and seeing, okay.
It's been going on for a long time, for a year or more, it's just,
for most
and
of
I
us.
look at it, and it's, I just think, even it doesn't even sound good, like at a certain point in the day, or I run out, and then it's like, oh my gosh, I don't have any. I mean, it could be alcohol. It's not alcohol, but I can understand. It gives me compassion for somebody that's alcoholic. It must be hell. I mean, at least I'm not stumbling around out of my, I'm more aware. I'm aware of it. I see it. Although I would say I know some people that were alcoholics that would cry and say, I don't want to do this anymore. And then they would do it again. It's sad,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's, even though I know there's a feeling that this is probably not good for me, and yet it continues, and I think, okay, can I meet this as the beloved, and how can I not be in resistance to it? Or I've thought of that sometimes when I'm eating, like, I wonder what Isaac would say. I mean, you wouldn't be against anything, I'm not saying that, but like, how do you be gentle with that and then not give in? I don't know if that's the right question, or if it's clear what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and it is clear what you're saying. I mean, it's just, somehow I see we can trouble ourselves about anything. And, it's like, it's just an opportunity in a way. If there's some idea that if you manage this, then you'll be happy or something like this, then that's already, like somehow gotten, it's the opportunity is lost because somehow something, our thinking has made it into it's measuring it against an idea or some idea of how it should be or could be. But there's just something simple happening. So somehow a craving comes up, and at times there's a movement to satisfy that craving, and other times there's not.
Or the craving isn't there. Maybe it goes all day, but then late at night, it's like
just disappears. Yeah. So, to me, it seems like it's like, okay, so there's a noticing of that, and then where does something grab it and make it mean something and turn it into a whole big movie? It's just, okay, craving comes, craving goes, following the craving happens or it doesn't. Yeah.
So, well, I mean, we can't do, but I was just saying, so letting go of the guilt or the, like, I have no willpower. What is wrong with me?
all of that stuff. I mean, what does that serve? It's just, and so when you say letting go of the guilt is just recognizing, okay, so somewhere guilt shows up. What's its function? It's trying to assist in some way. How to try and let go of guilt, if somewhere it has a function, that will never work. So, okay, guilt shows up, honoring it. Great. There's guilt here. I recognize you. What's your function? What is this? Just, it's trying to help in some ways. It's trying to help you maybe try never to do it again, but does it work? No. Okay, so it's trying to help, but it doesn't. Okay.
Yeah, there's days where I go, oh, I really feel I'm really done with that now. It's like, and then it's just like 24 hours later or less, it's like I'm sitting here and I have them in my lap, it's like, and I take the bite and I go, oh my gosh, that's so good.
Yeah, you can. So that's the thing, is I'm done with it, but it's not done with you. Yeah.
No, it's not. Yeah.
Then there's just the ideas that run around it. It's like, okay, I don't have willpower. I'm not, whatever. So just taking the opportunity to see what plays. I mean, it's just.
And the other question I had, when you're talking about how, as we rest more, then a lot of time these old traumas or patterns come more to the surface, I guess. And I've noticed recently the thoughts, just whether it's fear or worry or whatever, are just, I wake up in the morning, they're just hitting like, and it's like, I don't like to go to bed at night because I know when I first wake up, it's like there's this barrage of these thoughts and they're not good thoughts, and it could be the collective, it could be it doesn't matter. It's all the same. Like you say, the world's in me, and I do get afraid that I'm having these, and So I sit, I just rest.
So you're
Sometimes
talking about the past
yes, up
and
until
looking
now.
for and looking for a solution for the future.
Yeah, it's just been strong this
And then
week. Yes,
yeah, and just to notice that. And then what happens to this moment?
Oh,
When
if I just sit and breathe and rest for
yeah.
that, and I think of the word millisecond. It's okay, my human, just 1 millisecond, just breathe, you know. And if I just sit and breathe, then usually it's okay. Sometimes it wants to, it's
So now
pounding on
again,
the floor.
now you're talking about the past, just coming to
Right.
this moment. It's wanting to make a technique of it, wanting to somehow develop some kind of right way of being with it. And we just, yeah. And in all of that.
Right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
That's all we ever have, you know.
Yeah.
And like you say, it happens, everything happens, whatever it is, whether we want to label it good or bad, it's just whatever's in this moment. And
yeah,
then
right now, just to watch what's happening. Somehow this is becoming conceptual again. Again, nothing right with it or nothing wrong, just to recognize it. That's all that's happening. Just then we think we know something and we think we've gotten somewhere. I mean,
there's no landing anywhere. I mean, we sometimes do try and land somewhere, but there's no final landing. But it's so quick, you know, as you said, it's just. And it's so beautiful when we're really seeing, and sometimes it's so clear. There's no, I feel so blessed.
Just watch what's happening now again in this moment. Like the preciousness of now gets kind of lost in the whole. Yeah. And again, it's innocent, you know. It's not right or wrong or anything like that. But
Mm. And there is this rushing or something, you know, this hurry, pressure that plays.
thanks, Mama.
Thank you, Isaac.
Yeah. Swaha. And then afterwards, Michael. Hi, Swaha.
Hi, Isaac. Hi, family. I want to be with. Thank you.
Yeah, beauty. Thank you. Michael.
Hello, Isaac.
Hi, Michael.
I just want to rest with you, and as a critical brother, I have 2 questions after.
Go for it.
In this resting, sometimes it's really simple. This is the word for it, and sometimes in me, what is coming up, it's getting more and more complex, and therefore the question is from the thing of learning a couple of minutes ago. So I said it in quotation mark. Did you decide to meet, to get in contact with Papaji?
You know.
So you mean what it is? It's consciousness meet consciousness, or what is it?
It's the movement of life, the movement of this great intelligence, and it does itself.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, in a sense, does the flower follow the sun? How does that happen? It's just like it's the dance of.
Yes. And in my, what is it, consciousness or focus of awareness? I'm falling more in this, somehow in these questions or in this field. I have the possibility to meet the Kogis, which are coming to Germany, and I meet to glorify them to meet shamans, there are 18 years in absolutely darkness when they come to Earth. And just hear or be aware of 18 years of pure awareness in darkness. And at some point, they say that something is not in balance, but for me, it's the question, sometimes if you have this capacity of awareness, you know to allow to change something, and sometimes they pray or practice and something changes. And the question is, what happens there? What happens there in life? What's going on? And this, I'm falling into it.
Yeah. I have how can we ever know? Yourself as a Kogi is showing up. It's something, there's some interest there. And so it'll either pull you to it, but it's, in a sense, it's always yourself with yourself. I mean, ultimately, anybody, if they're pointing you anywhere other than at awareness, they're misleading, I mean, maybe with good intention, but it's just like, yeah.
So sometimes there is something I could more or less like a tsunami, and for sometimes I just ask for, is there is there a shore that the wave will land? But I have the feeling it's going so far out into space. There is no shore for the tsunami. It's
yeah.
And this I'm coming to contact with. There is no shore for the tsunami. And
in one way, it's like looking at this moment. You're not separate from totality.
Yeah.
You never have been. You never can be. Everything is an expression of that.
Yes.
So, there is nowhere to get to, and there's no one to get there. In that recognition, there can be just a resting.
Okay.
Because it's like you've never been. There's never been a you that's separate. There's never been separation, anything like that. So dying and all that stuff becomes just, you never go anywhere in a certain way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
And what's beautiful in this love affair, it's infinite. The depth of it has no limit. It's just
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
Yes. So much. Thank you, Isaac.
Yeah, beauty. Hans. Hi, Hans.
Last week I start to see something different. It's, somewhere I was always looking to awareness outside me or so, and seeing it as good because it felt good, or then deciding, well, I cannot know it, so I don't know, it's unknown. And then I got different reactions in my body of fear, of some kind of that. I realized that I cannot know awareness. It's there. And there's a kind of it activates a different kind of thinking or so, a different kind of psychology, or but still it's difficult to there is something in me which still looks to the outside. It still is looking to you or to something to find, and I know that it's appearing in this awareness, but I can almost not
beautiful. It's beautiful to notice, Hans. You know, like, so what we talk about outside, let's just see if we can deconstruct that a little bit, yeah? So there's this moment. Where's inside and outside of this moment?
I cannot.
We cannot say, yeah.
Not possible to say.
It's not possible to say. Usually when we're talking about inside and outside, we're referring to this bodying activity. There's some identification with this bodying activity that produces some sense of inside and outside. From the perspective of awareness, there is no inside and outside. And from the perspective of this moment, there is no inside and outside. But we have been, you know, we've been trained to, also through language, to like, there's a tree and it looks to be outside. Then we're not told that actually the experiencing of that treeing, because it's a verb, is happening in awareness. Everything is appearing in awareness. So we've been conditioned to look, you could say, in a way that produces a sense of inside and outside. It belongs to a certain habit of attention.
Sure.
Yeah. And from that perspective, it feels like inside and outside. But it's a mirage. It's not. Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
I can feel now that my body is bodying, and and outside my system, everything is a kind of expressing itself in expressions.
Yeah.
Immediately my focus changes as well, because then I'm interested not in you or so, but more in our relationship. And
yeah, and really, if you look what you call me, you see something, you feel something, all of that's appearing in awareness.
yes.
What you call me is not separate to the sense you have of this moment. It's not. It can't be. But yet something wants to externalize it, or you could say there's a habit that wants to externalize it, that if we look carefully, we can see there is nothing outside. It's just all here.
Mm. Yeah. Strange.
Yeah.
Strange, because I feel my nerve system. It feels nice, but in that moment, it's only, I can say us or so, I don't know.
Yeah, because that's a funny thing, also we've been taught the story of this is my nervous system, but really, who does this nervous system belong to? It's not separate from totality even for a second, ever. The whole, so where does this my come from? It's just it's a way of referencing, or a way of thinking, you could say, yeah.
Mm. Mm.
Doesn't leave much, right?
Mm.
Thanks, Hans.
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Anya. Hi. Can you hear me and see me? You're still muted, Anya. I don't hear you yet. On the bottom left of your screen, where that little red button is, just the bottom left of your screen. There's a little red thing. Oh, yeah. No, but I don't hear you. That's weird. But it's definitely unmuted now. You can't hear me either. I see this sign of mine. Yeah. I have no idea. Glitch in the matrix. You have to unmute again. Unmute one more time. Okay. Yeah, no.
Okay, it showed me always this huge sign that I can't speak because something is not connected, and then I couldn't hear you. Okay, finally. Oy, something got really triggered, right? This morning already, and now again. So I'm always a bit like distant to the whole Sangha and everything, and stuff's happening.
Yeah,
Fear.
Yeah, so there's sensations, yeah? And then just very gently noticing if there's any resistance to those sensations. There's any wanting it to be different, wanting to change it, wanting to fix it. Because you know it'll change, you know it'll pass by itself without doing anything. But just gently noticing if there's any resistance.
I need another short moment because my electricity now. I'm coming back. One second.
No problem.
Okay. It's always like when there's some stress in the system, suddenly it appears in the outside too. Okay.
What do you notice when we just rest?
Something gets worse, sort of, because the resistance got very, very strong, and I'm still in this freeze, and huge, intense freeze and icy cold, and at the same time it looks like finally something really, really deep is just coming up, and it's only possible if someone's there to help me.
Mhm. You know, I would say I would take out even this idea of helping. It's just, you know, it's like because for me it doesn't have any sense of helping you.
I know.
It's just like meeting myself in a way. There's no help involved. It's just okay. So there's something playing, and it's asking for loving presence, and that's very easy and enjoyable to.
Yeah, I know that this helping is that voice inside of me that really screams, help, 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 help.
Mm.
If I feel like this, and then it feels like there is help because someone's present.
Mm.
That's how it feels. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, these last weeks, it was so beautiful to watch that just my own presence, sort of this ever-present thing, was able to hold so much and to be present, and suddenly today it really was like so strong, or it still is strong. It's not like my presence could help or could be present. It's just like, oof. It's really amazing. So it's fear, I would call it fear, but the sensations, they really, it's just this kind of feeling of falling dead or something like that.
Mm.
Ah, yeah.
And you're still here.
I'm still here. Nothing can actually happen.
Nothing needs to be done. Nothing needs to be helped. Just this passing show appearing in.
That what shows now is actually the root of what always keeps me really busy, because I don't want to feel this. And everything we spoke was that this.
And even to say that you don't want to feel it, I would say it's more accurate to say there's an automatic not wanting to feel it. It wouldn't be you.
Yeah.
It would just be an automatic, you know, that nobody's doing. Conditioning or trauma response, whatever. It makes it seem personal.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's like waking up in the morning and these things appear. It's like I really feel like I don't have to focus on this content of awareness. But the moment I move, or there's a movement happening out of bed, it's like this what's now showing.
But just to recognize that at this moment, this is talking about the past.
Talking about the past, yeah.
Yeah.
And
with the hope that talking about it will bring something for the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing wrong with that. Just to recognize that that's what's wanting to appear now. Not necessary. You're here.
And that shows now that what drives me shows so deeply now. Without, I can't name it, the sensations that are showing in this moment. They seem to be what drives me the whole day.
In this moment, that's the sensations appearing And the only way they can drive a sense of you is if there's some resistance, which you wouldn't be doing. It would just be automatic and unconscious.
Exactly.
And so just identifying where resistance is, just getting a sense of somehow resistance is happening, you're not doing it. It's automatic, it's unconscious. And what the resistance always does is it makes it much bigger, so it feels overwhelming. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it really big right now.
Yeah. So just identifying the resistance. Leave the sensation for now. Just sense where somehow there's resistance. Automatic and unconscious. Not right, not wrong. Just gently noticing.
I feel like there's everything is resistance. I feel full resistance.
Yeah, cool. Then just honoring it and noticing it. Yeah. And very gently, just like noticing that resistance and going, okay, you're trying to help. And then just checking to see if it actually helps. Because it's automatic. It just does its thing. It goes into resistance. It's not you doing it. It's just an automaticity, automatic unconscious response. Yeah. And so you're just checking now in this moment, is that resistance useful or necessary? And it's just yes or no, that's all.
It's like my mind
Not trying to let go of it, not trying to do anything with it. You're just questioning. Okay, I see you're trying to help. But the question is, does it help? And is it necessary or useful in this moment, just now, not the next moment, just this moment?
it's not necessary.
It's not necessary. That's all enough. Now leave it and just see how your system integrates that. Because up to now, it's felt, it has acted as if it was necessary. But you've looked at it consciously and you could see it's not necessary right now. It's trying to help you and it doesn't. And you can see it's just trying to help, but it doesn't. That's all. You don't have to let go of it. Don't have to do anything with it. You've just questioned and seen it doesn't help right now. And then just noticing if the resistance increases, stays the same, or eases up just a little bit.
It's really intense still, really intense.
Yeah. So has it increased? Has it stayed the same, or has it lessened just a little bit?
Something is moving. Something is shaking.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that seems to be a good sign that it's still very intense.
Okay. Yeah. Something is. Yeah. So of course it's intense. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And whatever's left of the resistance, what's its function?
Something trying to protect, I guess. That's how
It's
it feels.
trying to protect you. Yeah. And then just checking, does it actually protect you in this moment?
Oh.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. And so just checking whatever's left of the resistance. Is it necessary or useful in this moment? Not for all time, not for the future, just now.
Yeah, somehow it eases. It gets easier now that I see that.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. And then just to notice that you survived. Your assessment that it wasn't necessary was correct.
Yeah.
That's regaining trust with your own seeing, yeah? Wasn't necessary, something relaxed, and you survived. And now repeat the process. Whatever's left of the resistance, trying to help you, and it makes it more intense. And it's been a pattern for however many years, and so it really, it's doing its job, so to speak, from its perspective, but when you look, it doesn't help in this moment. Whatever's left of it, is it necessary or useful in this moment, just now? Can it take a moment just to rest? If it's necessary again, it'll always come back, it'll be available. But for this moment, you're just discerning if it's necessary or not.
Yeah. Right now, it's very clear that it's not necessary.
And fantastic. How
And
beautiful.
I can just feel this strong freeze in the body, but that's all. It's okay. I guess it still needs to be there a little bit.
Yeah.
Freeze feeling.
Yeah. So somehow, when it's a freeze, it's relating to some old traumatic information, which at the time that freeze happened, the freeze was to try and help you survive.
Yeah.
So now you're discerning, is there anything in this moment where your survival is threatened? Or is this old information?
It's really old. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So then just seeing if that freeze is at all necessary right now, because there is no survival circumstance in this moment.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's old information. It's not necessary right now. And just see how the system responds to that seeing. You're not trying to change it. You're just checking, yeah? There is no actual danger right now. There's no life-threatening circumstance. You're just touching old information, that's all. Who knows from where? Who knows from when? We don't need to know. All we can discern is in this moment, there's no life-threatening circumstance.
Yeah.
And this response is related to old information, not necessary right now, that's all.
Yeah.
And then what do you notice? How's the freeze now? Has it changed a little, or is
It's really strong, but it's not like, it's strong and somehow I'm not getting lost in it.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
It's strong. It's totally strong. My legs are numb. It's freezing. It's something's shaky. It's something I know, and it's really intense. But it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and you've discerned that it's old information. So you're just touching old information, and of course, when that information has been touched, it releases a whole bunch of chemicals, and those chemicals take a little while to work their way through.
Yeah, it will take a bit, but it will go.
Yeah,
but it's okay.
Yeah, that's all. You just looked, you checked. There is no real, existential threat in this moment, and so just allowing your system to integrate that and the chemicals to come to peace. And,
Yes. Thank you very much. The time is over, I can see, and I'm fine with it. I can deal with it now. Okay.
Cool.
Thank you very
cool.
much.
Thanks, Anya. Okay. Bas, thank you for hosting. Thank you all for showing up. Love, peace, beauty.